Welcome back to Vikes with a Mike. Tyler, it's officially a week away, man. We are
Yeah.
at the home stretch. I cannot believe that we're this close to the draft. It feels like just a couple weeks ago we were, watching the Super Bowl.
Yep.
But at the same time, it feels like it's been forever. Like we've been doing draft coverage for like so long, it feels like.
Yeah. Exactly. I'm ready though.
But yeah, right. Today's gonna be super fun. So we're doing a first round mock draft. The both of us have come up with our own mock drafts, completely separate of each other, and we are gonna go over how we think the first round is gonna go. So this is your solid 100%. If you had to put money on it, like all 32 picks, including some trades, I think the both of us have as well.
Yep.
What you think is going to go down next Thursday night. So I think this is super fun. I'm super excited for it. I know I have some pretty spicy hot takes in my draft here. So let's just jump right into it, man.
Yeah. Do it.
All right, buddy. We'll just switch back and forth, and I'll give you the floor to start. So we'll go you, then me. How about that?
All right. Well, with the first pick of the 2021 NFL draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars will select Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, they will.
Clemson. I'd be willing to put everything I have on that. I think any person actually would.
Right. Yeah, I think the number one pick is about as solidified as it possibly can be. Trevor Lawrence even tweeted at one point something about like the Jacksonville Jaguars fans and like charity donations or something like that. That was pretty hilarious. But yeah, so we're both in agreement there. How about number 2 here with the New York Jets?
Well, I have the New York Jets selecting Zach Wilson from BYU, quarterback.
As do I.
Yeah,
I think it's
the Jets have pretty much made that official.
I think it's number 1 and number 2 that are basically locked, right? Like,
yep.
I'd be very shocked to find a mock draft at this stage that has any other quarterback going at 1 and 2 respectively.
Yep.
So
totally.
But I think this is where it's going to start to get different right here. So what do we got? Number 3.
I know mine's different than yours for sure, but with number 3, the San Francisco 49ers, I have them selecting Justin Fields. Ohio State quarterback.
All right. Interesting.
Yeah.
And why are you feeling Justin Fields at number 3?
I'm feeling Justin Fields because I feel like there's a lot of doubters on Justin Fields right now.
Yeah, there's a ton of doubters on Justin Fields right now. I think that he is probably the one that's, well, maybe not the one whose draft stock has dropped the most, but as far as the quarterbacks, it seems like for no good reason, his draft stock has dropped the most out of the quarterbacks for sure.
Yeah, I know. I feel like there's a lot of doubters out there for him right now. People are really underestimating him. I just don't see the San Francisco 49ers trading up to take another quarterback like Mac Jones. I just don't see it. Trey Lance, maybe. I feel like it's either going to be him or Justin Fields with this pick, but I don't see Mac. I don't know why people are coming up with Mac Jones. They could have got him at the original spot. Why would they trade up to number 3 to get him? It just doesn't make sense to me. So I feel like Justin Fields overall is more talented than Trey Lance, and people are really doubting his skill set. So I think it would be a great fit in San Francisco with Kyle Shanahan.
All right. I like that, and I want to make it clear that if I was the GM of the San Francisco 49ers, I would also select Justin Fields with the 3rd overall selection. However, I think that they're going to take Mac Jones at number 3. So that is who I have in here slotted at the number 3 pick is Mac Jones out of Alabama. I have him slotted in there because of the fact that his draft stock out of all the quarterbacks throughout this entire process has gone up the most. And immediately when San Francisco traded into the 3rd spot, the rumors that started circling around the NFL had a lot to do with Mac Jones. And by no means am I saying that is a for sure thing. Again, if I was in San Francisco's seat, I would do what you did. I would take Justin Fields, but those rumors don't start coming out of nowhere. You know what I mean? Like they don't just appear with no validity to them. So somebody in that organization or somebody close to that organization was obviously saying something to someone about Mac Jones at number 3 potentially. And I think that he's the type of quarterback that Kyle Shanahan likes. So I wouldn't be too shocked if this pick happened. In fact, I wouldn't be so. I have it as kind of my lock. So I think this is what's gonna end up going down here.
All right. Interesting.
How about number 4 here?
With Atlanta, all right. I have the Atlanta Falcons taking Kyle Pitts from Florida. I have nothing but good things to say about Kyle Pitts. I mean, he's probably the best player in this draft, realistically. I mean, the dude is phenomenal. I don't feel like with 3 quarterbacks off the board already, I don't feel like the Falcons need to take a quarterback to make it 4. I just feel like that's kind of stupid. I feel like they can get one next year, maybe even. Like Kyle Pitts is a generational talent. I don't really feel like they need a tight end as well. I feel like, I mean, he's the best tight end for sure out there and probably one of the best wide receiver. So it's like, it would not make sense to the Atlanta Falcons to pass him up just to take a quarterback for Matt Ryan, who's still playing decent football. I feel like it's just overall this team, their defense isn't very good. But if you give him another weapon like Kyle Pitts, I mean, Matty Ice is going to throw a couple more TDs maybe next year.
What an offense. What an offense.
Yeah. Make that offense even more explosive.
That would be pretty insane. And I agree with you. I have Kyle Pitts going to the Falcons at number 4 as well. I could see them trading out of that spot depending on what teams are offering for the number 4 overall pick. You know, if teams are getting really hungry for the quarterback position, especially if it goes the way that my board is right now with Mac Jones coming off the board at number 3 and you have Justin Fields and Trey Lance still available. I think that makes a much larger market for that pick at number 4. So look for a potential trade there. But yeah, I don't have them passing up on Kyle Pitts there at number 4.
Yeah.
How about number 5 with the Bengals?
Well, number 5, the Cincinnati Bengals, I have them taking Penei Sewell from Oregon. I just don't. Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase, I wouldn't be mad. I would not be mad. But, like, you got to protect the guy. You got to protect Joe Burrow. I mean, yeah, you can get a good offensive lineman early in the second there, but there's a difference between a good offensive lineman in the second round and Penei Sewell. I mean, I feel like it's harder to find a really elite offensive lineman than it is a good weapon and wide receiver. I feel like Cincinnati can get a good guy early second round if they want to. I mean, they did that last year with T. Higgins. T. Higgins is a phenomenal rookie wide receiver from this past year. But Penei Sewell is just one of those guys. Like he's a generational type talent. He's the best offensive tackle in this class. If Cincinnati passed him up, it's very stupid. But again, I wouldn't be mad if they took Jamar Chase, but it's like, I don't get why you wouldn't take a guy like Sewell, especially when you're going to need to protect Joe Burrow, who had that horrible injury. And it just wouldn't make sense. It really wouldn't to not take Sewell with this pick.
I agree with you there. I do. I think that makes the most sense to me as well. I have Penei Sewell being selected at number 5 overall by the Bengals. The bottom line is what you said at the end there. They need to protect Joe Burrow. Have you seen that scar that of the Instagram photo that he posted? You got to look at his Instagram, man.
I don't even want to, but
on his knee is insane. And so, yeah, man, if you leave him sitting like a duck out there yet again this season, I think that front office doesn't deserve Joe Burrow anymore at that point. I think that Joe Burrow will be pounding down the door at the facility during draft night, making sure that they select Penei Sewell at number 5 overall. What about number 6 here?
This was a spot I actually was debating on trading back and saying if Miami could even get more capital off of this, but I actually have them taking Jamar Chase, the best receiver in this draft. It would be a great fit for Tua. You got to get him a number 1 target like Jamar Chase from LSU. I mean, this guy had a dominant 2019 season along with Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's crazy good. I'm not worried at all about him missing last year. I mean, you know how I feel about how I feel about Rashad Bateman. So, yeah, Jamar Chase, he's the best wideout in this class. I
By
think he's
far.
better than Devontae Smith. I mean, Devontae
Yeah.
Smith's a good receiver, but Jamar Chase is just the most dynamic and complete receiver. Miami needs a receiver. They're going to take Jamar Chase with this pick. I think it's a lock if they stay. If he falls to them too.
I think it's interesting that you say that you might have had them trading back, because I do have the Dolphins trading back here, and I have Denver trading up to the 6th overall pick.
Okay.
I'm not really going to get into the compensation that I put through with my mock draft thing, because that's not something that I necessarily want to put money on. I think it is going to take quite a bit to move up those 3 spots, even though it is just 3 spots, because of my scenario here with the 2 quarterbacks. So Denver moves up to 6. Miami moves back to 9. And with the 6th pick, Denver chooses Justin Fields, quarterback out of Ohio State. I think this is an insanely good move by Denver. If this ends up happening, there's nobody better that they can get at this point. It's not like they need to address the defense or anything like that, or, not nearly as much as they need a really solid quarterback. And Justin, he brings that extra layer of athleticism. He can run with the ball. He can make those smart decisions. So sure, their receiving core may not be the greatest in the NFL, but he can make that work more than other quarterbacks, I think, in this draft. So
I totally agree with that for sure.
What we got at number 7 here?
All right. Well, here's my first trade actually of the draft. I have the Motor City Kitties moving back to 15 they're going to swap with the New England Patriots. Wow. The New England Patriots will move up here. They're going to give up. It's going to be quite a bit. I mean, it's going to be at least probably a 2nd or 3rd and definitely a 5th in there. They're going to swap that to Detroit. Here's why Detroit's going to trade back though. Detroit needs every position, dude. They need literally everything. True. This team needs as much capital as they can possibly get. They don't need a quarterback, so this is why I'm moving them back. I feel like they can get a really good player at the spot. And I actually have them getting a really good player at 15. So, and you'll see, but this team needs as much compensation as they can get. They need capital. They need everything. Detroit, they need any kind of player. They're going to need to take as many good guys as they can get to fill that roster and make it better, to make them a better football team all around, because they have a lot of holes. But back to pick 7, I have New England moving up to take Trey Lance. This team is finally going to move up and take a quarterback. They haven't been able to do that in years. I know Bill Belichick is going to want to get his quarterback. I don't think Cam Newton, you can't really trust him, but he's probably going to start next year. Trey Lance is going to be a project, but you put him in that system in New England for a couple of years, he would definitely, I feel like, be the starter within a couple of years. So New England.
I don't hate that at all. I don't have the Detroit Lions moving at all. I have them selecting Jamar Chase here at number 7, just getting a really solid new weapon for their new quarterback in Detroit. But I like where you're going there with the swap. Hint, with New England. I think that it's very likely that they trade in the first round at some point. Hint. So, what about number 8 here with? Well, I don't know. Who do you have thinking of number 8?
Oh, I have the Carolina Panthers are at 8.
Okay, cool.
And I have them taking Rashawn Slater, offensive tackle, Northwestern. I feel this is, I mean, they need, Rashawn Slater's a great player. I feel like they're going to have to protect Sam Darnold at all costs, as we saw how it went in New York. They're going to have to get a lineman. They know they have weapons in Carolina for Sam Darnold. That will not be an excuse for anybody or Sam Darnold or that team. But getting a guy like Rashawn Slater at offensive tackle, we've seen the tape, what he did against Chase Young in college. They're going to need a guy to protect Sammy, because he did not have much protection in New York.
No, he did not.
I feel like this is a really good pick for the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I like that a lot. In fact, I like it so much that I have the exact same thing for all the reasons that you just said. I think if you're going to go with Sam Darnold, kind of like you said, you need to actually put him in a good position, unlike what the Jets did. And the first thing that you can do by that is giving him a good amount of time to throw the ball. Rashawn Slater will allow you to do that. I am praying to God that Rashawn Slater falls to 14 with the Minnesota Vikings, but I really don't think he's gonna. Yeah. So we'll see how that all pans out. But that's a fantastic pick for Carolina right there at number 8. They do not need to move up or move back.
Yep.
What about
All right.
number 9?
The Denver Broncos at number 9. I have them selecting Mac Jones, QB, Alabama. I mean, he's the only QB left out of the 4, or is it 5? I don't freaking know. But Mac Jones, I don't hate Mac Jones. I think he's a good quarterback prospect for sure. I think he should go in the top 10, but I don't know. Denver just couldn't get a trade done at the end of the day in this mock for me. I mean, New England got past them. New England wanted Trey Lance. I don't know. They just did. Mac Jones isn't a bad pick, though, for Denver. He's definitely going to compete with Drew Lock, but we'll see. I mean, he is kind of a project, though, as well. You're going to have to put weapons around him. They've got some good receivers, but it's whether they can get him more, because he's going to need a good offense, because that Alabama offense was freakishly insane.
Right. Totally hear you. Totally agree with that. I think that's another reason why I have them going to San Francisco, because San Francisco was a Super Bowl team just a couple of years ago. So when they're healthy, they can be really great. And I think that's why Mac could fit really well there. But I had that trade earlier. So this is actually Miami picking at 9 for me. Since Penei Sewell and Rashawn Slater are off the board at this point in my mock draft, I have them taking Christian Darrisaw here at number 9. I think there's a lot of people that argue that he's better than Rashawn Slater. I personally very much so disagree, but there are people that make that argument. So, hey, at least Miami, you're coming out of this draft here with getting more capital since you traded back and a really solid offensive lineman. So the Tua now has some more time. You can make sure he's protected. Now go get another offensive weapon here a little bit later in the draft.
Number 10 with the Dallas Cowboys. I have them going with Patrick Surtain, the second.
As do I.
Cornerback.
Yep.
This team needs a corner desperately bad. They need anything on defense. Being ranked, I think, was it 30th last year? I think they were
something
top
like
3
that. Might have even been last in the league, I think.
It was just so bad. Surtain's going to help them out a lot. He's a good player.
Yeah, fantastic player.
Yeah, I don't know. They're going to go Alabama corners back-to-back years, I guess, because Trevon Diggs in the second round.
That's right. Yeah. Forgot about that.
But, yeah, they have to take a corner with that pick. You're not getting Kyle Pitts, Jerry Jones. That's not happening.
Right. No, it's not. No, sadly. Yeah. So I have the same exact thing. So I guess I'll move on here to number 11 and the New England Patriots, because I have a trade going on here. I have the New England Patriots moving up to number 11. So they're jumping up 4 spots. Now you're going to be shocked by this pick. I don't have them moving up to select the last quarterback on the board, because I don't think that Bill Belichick likes Trey Lance as much. I think if he's the last quarterback, then Bill isn't 100% on him. I think Bill is gunning for a Mac Jones to fall, or the very, very low likelihood of a Justin Fields to fall. I think that Trey Lance's inexperience at the collegiate level is something that Bill Belichick just does not like at all, and is why he won't touch him probably with a 10-foot pole. So I have him actually jumping Philly, who needs a wide receiver, and taking Devonta Smith before they can snatch him up. The reason I also have this is because you at least signed Cam Newton to a 1-year deal. It was a better deal than what you signed him to last season. So obviously the coaching staff has some form of, trust in Cam Newton. Why don't you give him a really amazing weapon on the outside to use and see where this could actually go? Because Cam Newton could be a quarterback that you keep under contract for a little bit until you really, really need to draft a quarterback. Because I would say right now you don't need it for sure. So if you have an option to go get Devonta Smith, then might as well do it.
I like that a lot, actually. If I didn't have them taking a QB, I would definitely think about Devonta Smith for sure. All right, well, let's see, because that was 11, right? I actually have the New York Giants still picking at 11.
Okay.
And I have them taking Devonta Smith, actually.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I do.
So either way, he gets picked at 11.
Yeah. I mean, he's undersized and small, but like he doesn't have a problem with winning battles. I mean, it's not really a big deal. People are kind of making a
Exactly.
big deal about it right now. I don't know. The Giants need a star receiver really badly. They don't have a
Yes.
star receiver,
True.
and Devontae
True.
Smith has that potential to be a star receiver. I feel like this is a win-win pick. Danny Dimes needs a weapon desperately. So I don't. The Heisman winner is definitely a great pickup for the New York Giants here at 11.
I like that. I like that a lot. At number 12, I have the other Alabama wide receiver going because what does Philly need the most? They need a wide receiver. So Jalen Waddle goes here at number 12. Top 3 wide receivers officially all off the board. I am of the opinion that Waddle might be a better end product in the NFL than Devontae Smith personally, but if he goes to the Philadelphia Eagles, then I think Devontae Smith will be the better prospect. I think whichever wide receiver ends up going to the Eagles will be at least 2 times worse, up to 10 times worse than the other wide receiver.
Oh man, with Philly at 12, I have them taking Jalen Waddle as well. I mean, they were going to take a wide receiver with this pick, no matter what. And if they don't,
Right.
I don't know what that coach is literally on. But
Yeah, right.
he's for some reason that guy he scares me. I don't know what it is. That coach, I don't know. He sketches me out a little bit. I don't trust him. I feel like he's going to just.
You're not a fan?
No, he's gonna do something weird. I don't. You hear what he said about Jalen the other
Yeah, that
day?
he didn't. They're not committing to Hurts being the starting quarterback. It's going to be an open competition, whatever the heck that means.
Who's the competition right now?
Exactly.
Don't tell me you're taking a QB in the first round.
Well, right. Who are you going to get at 12? Are you going to move up? Why would you move up when you already moved back?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm really confused with that coach. I mean, they have to go. They have to go wide receiver with the mistake that they made last year and fix that and take Jalen Waddle. So I don't know.
Yeah, totally agree. With 13, I'm gonna say a name that's gonna get a lot of the Vikings fans that are listening really sad.
No,
Elijah Vera Tucker here with the Chargers off the board. So in my mock draft here, that is in the top 13 picks. Penei Sewell, Rashawn Slater, Christian Darrisaw, and Elijah Vera Tucker all gone.
wow.
So the Vikings will not have a pick of any of those guys at 14. But the Chargers, as far as they go, yeah, you need to protect Justin Herbert. He is your future. He is going to be a quarterback to be feared in this league for a long time if he can keep up what he was doing in his rookie year. So how about you go out there and get him a guy that can give him even more time to throw the ball?
Yep, exactly. That is 1,000% how I feel. With pick 13, I actually have them taking Christian Darrisaw, who's still on my board. So I would bet anybody, like any kind of money, just anything. They're taking an offensive tackle or even a guard. Vera Tucker, because we know he can play tackle as well. But they're going to take an offensive lineman, people, at 13. It's pretty much a lock at this point. You got to protect Herbert.
Yep, 100% agree. And then we're up to 14 here. And I have the the Washington football team selecting at number 14. The Minnesota Vikings, since all the offensive linemen that were projected to be for sure first-round talents are gone, decide, hey, let's trade back. Let's try and get back into the second round, which hopefully they do with this move here by getting back to 19, I believe. Yeah, 19. And Washington, somehow the board falls beautifully for them. They get Trey Lance here at number 14 to fix their cornerback woes. I mean, I don't think this could work out better for either team. Minnesota, you don't get one of the best offensive linemen. Okay, fine. You get back into the second round at least, and you have better, value at whatever position you're picking later if you want to maybe go defense or whatever. And then, as far as Washington, Trey Lance at number 14, quite honestly, if I am Minnesota, I might even take Trey Lance at 14. Hot take alert. But if he falls all the way to 14, it's really hard for me to not be kind of rooting in the back of my mind for them to take him.
Yeah. All right. Well, at 14, I have oh, wait. I have Miami Dolphins. Sorry. I have a trade. I have a trade.
Okay.
I have a trade. I have the Miami Dolphins trading up to 14. They will be
Interesting.
taking Micah Parsons, linebacker, Penn State.
Interesting.
I feel like they need a presence on defense. I don't like the wide receiver board at this point in the draft, or on my board specifically. Parsons is a good linebacker. I feel like this team needs some kind of toughness on defense as well. He's going to go out there, maybe play off a little bit of the edge as well in Miami, because he has that kind of flexibility from Penn State. So he's just a great all-around defensive player, Parsons. I've been high on him for pretty much this whole draft process. I feel like it would be a good pickup for Miami. This team has enough capital to make a move like this. So
absolutely.
And I have the Vikings obviously moving back to 18 then. I feel like hopefully maybe they can get back in the second round with Miami.
I think if you make that move, you could probably get back in the second round.
Yeah. I feel like this would be a great move for the Vikings. Moving back is
that's massive.
I usually hate the Vikings moving back, but this year, if it's the right time, they've got to do it.
Absolutely. Yes. Yeah.
I feel like it makes so much sense.
If the market looks good, you need to move back. You need to move back and try and get back in the second round.
Yep.
Awesome. Yeah. I like that pick a lot. All right. Well, with 15, I have the New York Giants selecting here because of the earlier trade instead of the New England Patriots. So they are going to take Kwity Paye, edge rusher out of Michigan, which I actually had mocked to them, I want to say about a month ago when they were still picking at 11. So that's pretty great value, I'd say. He's obviously the first edge player off the board. I know that a lot of people don't have him going until kind of the 20s, but I think personally he's the best edge rusher on this board. And I think that he fits really well with the New York Giants defense. They need some more dominance on that defensive line.
Yep. All right. Well, I made a trade too at 15. I have the Motor City Kitties at 15, actually, with the trade with New England. I have them taking an edge rusher. I have them taking Jalen Phillips.
Miami. Interesting.
I feel, after watching this guy's tape, I really feel like he's the most talented edge rusher in this class. Talented. I know he has the injuries with his concussions, but talent-wise, I think he's the best. I think he is the best. Detroit needs any kind of, like I said, they need literally every position. A pass rusher would not hurt this team in the NFC North when they're going to be facing quarterbacks like Aaron Rodgers and Kirk Cousins. To be able to get pressure on those guys is going to really help.
Andy Dalton.
Does he count? I don't know if I can put him on the same tier as those guys.
No, you can't.
That's why I didn't mention his name. But,
sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Just be funny.
No, I don't know. I just feel like Detroit has to take a really talented player with this spot. That's why I said they're going to get a talented player. I think Detroit has to take this risk, even though he has got the injury history. If Detroit can score on this is a big time pickup for the Detroit Lions.
I like it a lot. For sure. Moving on here, though, with number 16, we got the Arizona Cardinals. And I have them taking one of my favorite players in this draft here, Christian Barmore out of Alabama. The defensive tackle group in this draft is super weak after Christian Barmore. Yeah. You might have one or two guys that could have a similar ceiling, but I would say that this guy blows all of them out of the water. And I think that this is massive for Arizona because you have to remember Arizona and their acquisitions that they had, specifically J.J. Watt on the defensive line. One of the first signings in the offseason from any team. So that is a scary good defense at this point, in my opinion. Because anytime you can get pressure on the quarterback, it's over. So
exactly. All right. At 16 with the Arizona Cardinals, Pat Pete is now a Minnesota Viking. Nobody better to replace him than J.C. Horn, man. Come on. J.C. Horn.
I like it.
Arizona Cardinals. I feel like this is a great pick for the Cardinals.
I dig that.
This guy's a really good player. I feel like he fits in really well with Arizona for some reason. I feel like this defense is going to be just coming up and surprising a lot of people next year, and they're going to be maybe even a top 10 unit next year if they can pick up maybe like J.C. Horn at this pick. I mean, he's a sneaky good player.
Yeah, I like him a lot, and that's not just
I,
because of his name.
yeah, no, like for real, this is like a really good pickup. If they can, Arizona can get him at 16, that's a really big win for the
Yeah,
Cardinals.
that's huge. That's huge. Number 17 here, we got my Las Vegas Raiders. I'm not super comfortable, I guess, really at the moment, kind of drawing connections with myself and the Raiders right now, just because of a tweet that they sent out a couple days ago on Tuesday. But we won't get too into that. But they are taking one of my favorite players in this draft. Probably my second favorite behind Rashawn Slater, Trayvon Moehrig. They are taking by far the best safety in this draft. Kid's an animal. He is aggressive, super aggressive, which I think, quite honestly, is going to help them with Jonathan Abrams in the back too, because he's more of that, like, he's aggressive too, but he has a little bit more of a ball hawking kind of, he knows where everything is going on in the field type view, whereas you can send Trayvon down like similar to the strong safety moves and blitzes that Zim has with Harrison Smith. So yeah, I think this is a fantastic pickup for the Raiders, the way that the board has fallen for them at this moment.
Yeah, that would definitely be an interesting pair, in my opinion. I'll never forget watching Hard Knocks and seeing just Jonathan Abrams literally going psycho on the field. This dude literally just wouldn't stop. This guy, his motor is literally insane, dude. Like, the guy won't stop.
Yes.
He literally won't stop. Yeah, it's crazy, man. I like that, though. So at 17 with the Las Vegas Raiders, I actually have them taking Christian Barmore on the defensive line.
Okay.
I feel like this team, they have Max Crosby off the edge, obviously, but they need a
Yannick Ngakoue.
And Yannick Ngakoue. I always forget about that guy now. But yeah, I feel like you got to make this defensive line even better and get a guy like Christian Barmore. He's still a really good defensive tackle. I did hear a scout though say that this is like the worst like defensive, like interior defensive line he's like seen in like NFL like history of him like scouting, which is crazy. But Christian Barmore isn't an exception to that. I feel like he's still a really good player from Alabama.
Right.
So I feel like this would be a really good pickup for the Raiders. They need to make this defensive line better. They need to make their whole defense really better, but let's start with the defensive line here, because I feel like this could be like a final touch on that defensive line, because I feel like it is pretty solid already. So
I think if I didn't have him being selected right before, he would have been my absolute lock. In that pick for sure. I have number 18, that trade from earlier. At least maybe it wasn't a trade. Hold on, now I'm kind of getting confused. No, I want to think it was a trade. It's the Dolphins. So just picking where they're at. And they're getting the same guy that you had them picking a little while ago. They're getting Micah Parsons here. So they didn't have to do any other extra moving, but they're still getting Micah Parsons. Yeah, you practically said everything already. It just wasn't, the same exact pick. But this is insane value at where they're getting him. But I think it's the first linebacker off the board in my draft. So linebackers just happen to be falling. Next up, though, I think we have number 19. What do you got for us, Tyler?
I got at 18, I got obviously the Minnesota Vikings.
Right.
Yep. This pick is, I think you already know who it's going to be. I hope you do, at least. Well, the 18th pick in the NFL draft, I got the Minnesota Vikings selecting Elijah Vera Tucker, baby. Minnesota Vikings, Elijah Vera Tucker. I just love the flexibility with this kid, being able to play guard and tackle. He feels pretty much this offensive line has basically two holes on it right now. I know he can't fill them both, but he's going to fill one of them, and he's going to fill it for sure. I have a good, if he's going to be a Minnesota Viking, I feel like he's going to fill it for sure. It's going to be interesting though. If he were to be a Minnesota Viking, will he be a guard or will he be on tackle? I don't know.
I think that if we take Elijah Vera Tucker in your mock draft, I would put him down on the roster as a guard personally.
Okay.
but that's just me. I wouldn't mind seeing him at a left tackle, right tackle potentially, just because I think he's probably better than Rashad Hill. But knowing the Vikings coaching staff, I think that he'd probably end up being a guard.
Yep.
Well, number 19 is my next pick here, and I have the Minnesota Vikings selecting at number 19. So look at that, just one behind you. And I have them taking Jalen Phillips.
Okay.
Here at number 19. Again, you have said it all already. This kid is an absolute stud. I hate the mocks that have us taking him at 14, to be completely honest with you. But if you can trade back just, what was it, 1, 2, 3, 5 spots. If you can trade back 5 spots and get the same player and get back into like the second round, or at least maybe another third round pick to then trade into the second round later on, dude, I am loving everything about that. Everything about that. The injuries is the only thing, but with Coach Andre Patterson, man.
Yeah.
There's no way. There's no way he doesn't turn into an absolute stud. Absolute stud.
Yeah.
So
I like that a lot. Pairing him with Andre, that'd be so fun to watch. Man. All right. Well, at 19, I got the Washington football team. I didn't have them moving. I had them taking Tevin Jenkins with this pick from Oklahoma State. Again, I feel like Tevin Jenkins is an offensive tackle, just a plug and play type of guy. I feel like he can definitely start for the Washington football team. I would love for them to maybe go wide receiver here, but again, they already got their guys, so they're not going to do that. QB, no QBs on the board for me at this point. You got to protect Ryan Fitzmagic back there because isn't he going to be the starter? So
yeah,
Tevin Jenkins again is just a plug and play type of offensive tackle. I don't feel like he's the best in this class, but I do feel like he is pretty solid. So yeah, I like that pick a lot for Washington.
For sure. Yeah, I like that. At number 20 here, I got the Chicago Bears. They are getting great value at where they're picking 2. They're taking J.C. Horn out of South Carolina here. You lost Kyle Fuller. Your defense is in shambles. And what are you known for up there in Chicago? Your defense. That's what you've been known for the past couple of years now. I mean, that's technically the history of your franchise, really. So go out there and start building it back the right way. Get one of the best corners in this draft. Most people would say Patrick Surtain is the best. I personally think, and it has nothing to do with the name. I really do believe that the chip on J.C. Horn's shoulder at the moment is going to skyrocket him into being the best corner that comes out of this draft. Book it. So Chicago, I hate you because you're making this pick and we're going to have to deal with it for God knows how many years, but you just got a heck of a lot of talent at number 20.
Well, then I know you're going to hate this next pick with Chicago, but all right. I got the Chicago Bears at 20. Allen Robinson will be gone next year. Mark my words. He will not be a Chicago Bear after next year. I have them replacing him with Rashad Bateman from Minnesota with this pick at 20. Rashad Bateman will be a star in this league. The problem is him going to Chicago and Andy Dalton throwing him the football. I don't know if that's really the best situation for my guy. So I do feel for you, but the Bears are going to need a wide receiver extremely bad because Allen Robinson will not be a Chicago Bear. They do need a corner as well, but I don't know if they're going to take a risk on Caleb Farley. So
I hate you, man.
Because J.C. Horn's off my board.
That's going to hurt so bad. I would hate that so much. That's why I have Rashad Bateman going here at 21 to the Indianapolis Colts, a team that we don't have to see very often. He gets to go and play with a former Minnesota kid at quarterback there in Indianapolis. I think that he'll actually thrive in that because he gets to learn from, a guy like T.Y. Hilton while he's still in the league.
Yeah, definitely.
I just think that this makes sense on so many levels for him to go to Indianapolis. I just think his kind of bigger route running style works there too. Bigger. He's fast too. Like he proved that at his pro day. So Rashad Bateman's an all-around stud. Like you said, he's going to be a star in this league. And you know what? I'll be honest. This time it is biased because I do love the kid out of Minnesota, but book that one too.
All right. At 21 with Indianapolis, I have them taking Caleb Farley. I have them taking a risk here with the injuries, but again, I feel like he is a very talented player. This team needs a corner really badly on that defense. Their wide receivers are still all right, but again, they had Rashad Bateman going the pick before, so I don't really feel like they should be reaching on some of these lower tier. I feel like lower end first round, second round type talents at 21. So I feel like Caleb Farley. I mean, it might not be a safe pick, but I wouldn't want to see them reach at a wide receiver at this spot. But again, Farley's very talented. It's the only reason why he's falling in this draft is because some injury concern. He's literally could be a top 15 talent in this draft without that. So I feel like if Farley is healthy, it's a very good pickup for the Indianapolis Colts.
For sure. For sure. Number 22 here, I got the Tennessee Titans still picking. They're going to take a corner following the Indianapolis Colts. They will be taking Greg Newsome II out of Northwestern. I know that you and I have talked in the past on how much we like this guy coming out of Northwestern. Yep. If you play corner in the Big Ten, to be completely honest, you have to learn how to be really good at the line and how to be physical. And Greg Newsome knows how to do that. I think him along with Farley are very similar in talent level. So, I think that's a great pick for Tennessee. And like you said, as far as Farley goes, he hasn't been picked yet, but the only reason he goes behind Newsome is because of the injury.
Yep, exactly. With Tennessee at 22, I have them sticking with the secondary. It's not going to be a corner. It's going to be the best safety in this class. Trayvon Moehrig, Tennessee Titans. They need somebody on this defense that's physical and can play the position. I mean, this guy, they don't really have anybody at safety, Tennessee, right now. I mean, their defense is kind of shambles anyway. It's pretty bad. But I feel like this would be a great pickup. He's the best safety in this draft.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, I don't know. He's got a little Antoine Winfield Jr. in him, I feel like. Maybe not as talented, but it's not a biased comment. But he's physical and he's a good player. So, I mean, I don't see why this would be a bad pick for Tennessee. They need anything really on defense, corner. They need any kind of secondary, actually.
I dig it. I like that a lot. But yeah, I think any sort of secondary pick just makes sense for Tennessee there at 22. Yeah. 23 here with the Jets, their second pick of the first round. I have them taking Caleb Farley. So they are the ones who take a chance on this guy, but they're not really taking a chance here, in my opinion. Caleb Farley has looked great every look I've gotten at him. So, this defense is on the rise. You have a Robert Saleh in the head coach chair now over there in New York. So, he's going to take his quarterback of the future with that second overall pick, but from here on out is where we're going to kind of start seeing, I think, a little bit more of a defensive lean in his first draft.
Yeah, I like that a lot, actually, because my pick at 23 the Jets, I have them taking Kwity Paye off the edge from Michigan with this pick.
Okay.
I feel like Robert Saleh, you give him an edge rusher like Kwity Paye, that's going to be great because we know what he does with edge rushers. You've seen the Bosas, you've seen Solomon Thomas, you saw DeForest Buckner when he used to play there. I mean, him developing defensive linemen, I mean, it's happened. I mean, it works in that system in San Francisco, and he's going to bring the same scheme over to New York next year. So Kwity Paye coming off the edge for the New York Jets next year, I would not be surprised at all if he falls to 23 here with the New York Jets.
That's really good value, in my opinion. I had him going at like 15, I think.
Yeah.
So that's awesome for Robert Saleh and his crew.
Yep.
All right. With the Steelers here, they're getting your guy Tevin Jenkins.
Okay.
I quite honestly wouldn't even be mad if not to turn this into like anything about the Vikings necessarily, but like this is another one of those guys where if you need to trade down even deeper into the first round to really get back into like the second round, if you can maybe make a trade with like Jacksonville or whatever to try and get their second round pick, that's basically another late first rounder. Yep. then Tevin Jenkins is a guy that's probably going to come off the board around here, and he's a really solid tackle. He just
Yep.
played at Oklahoma State, and he has a little bit of a shorter build, if I'm remembering correctly. So that's kind of where people are going to knock him. But I think as far as the Steelers go, you need to protect Big Ben. So that's the thought process on this pick. There's not a better offensive lineman on the board in my position, in probably their eyes. I think Dylan Radins is the next best tackle on the board at this point, even if you don't select Tevin Jenkins. But that's just my personal opinion.
Yeah. Okay.
So.
Yeah, I mean, at 24 was a tough pick for me. I feel like the Steelers have to go offensive line though, and I'm high on Alex Leatherwood from Alabama, so I'm going to take him. With this spot. I feel like him and Dylan Radins are pretty up there in like talent wise, pretty underrated. I just don't see Dylan Radins for some reason going in the first round just because of NDSU.
No, he's not gonna. And I think a lot of teams are not necessarily going to regret that, but the team that misses out on him is definitely going to look back and be like, oh, I had a shot.
No, but I'm high on Alex Leatherwood, the flexibility he brings.
I like him too.
2 years, playing 2 years at tackle and 2 years at guard at Alabama. Obviously, Alabama is pretty much the best freaking football school in college football right now. I mean, the guy has experience playing at pretty much the highest level in college football, has experience playing in national championships, 4 years starter, basically. I mean, come on. That's a good pickup, I feel like, for the Steelers. I mean, I don't know why they wouldn't take an offensive lineman, especially with Big Ben at quarterback. He took a lot of hits last year, too. So, I mean, if you're going to still play him at quarterback, why aren't you going to take an offensive lineman with this pick, Pittsburgh? Why wouldn't you? So, yeah.
I like that a lot. At 25 here, this is the Jaguars selecting. This is the pick that I wouldn't mind Minnesota trading with if they were going to try and get into the second round, the one I was talking about earlier. It's a lot of spots to drop, but just to make sure that that's clear. I have the Jags not moving, though. I have them taking Walker Little out of Stanford. He's a tackle. Again, I think it's arm length on this one that's getting him. But as far as Jacksonville goes, now you have the best quarterback in this draft. You have everyone, is for sure that he's going to be a generational talent in Trevor Lawrence. So protect him at all costs. Again, I'd pick Dylan Radins or even an Alex Leatherwood if I was in the GM chair, but I think that Walker Little's gonna go off the board before both those guys. So that's just it's just where we have Jacksonville picking.
All right. I was really feeling the Jacksonville offensive line. The problem was the board for me. It just doesn't really. I feel like they can get somebody with their early second round pick at the spot. So I'm gonna have them taking Therese Marshall Jr. from LSU. The LSU receivers in the last couple of years, even Jamar Chase this year, and Therese Marshall Jr. But I feel like they're really good players. Give Trevor Lawrence another weapon. I feel like they're gonna take an offense. If they can make this pick, they're gonna take an off. They're gonna still get a talented offensive lineman early in the second. So with my board, I don't like them taking a tackle because I don't feel like the value is as good as maybe in the early in the second. I feel like
that's
if they can get a weapon like Therese, because Therese Marshall's not going to get into their pick. I don't feel like early second. So I feel like it'd be a good pickup. I don't feel like an LSU receiver like him is going to disappoint. He might not be the best receiver in the class, but you never know. We didn't think Justin Jefferson was going to be the best receiver in the class last year, and look what happened.
That's true. As much as I want to say that I saw a star in him from the beginning, I definitely didn't think he was going to outperform like a CeeDee Lamb or even Jerry Jeudy, honestly.
Yeah.
Alrighty. With the 26th overall pick, we got the Browns, and I have them taking JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. I think he's not the best linebacker in the draft, but depending on how he's used, he could be. So Micah Parsons, I see him more as a guy that you're going to kind of rush the passer with. Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, he has a lot more of a skill set. He's a little bit more of a flexible guy in my mind. So I think the Browns is a fantastic system for him to go into. Linebacker is something that they're desperately needing. So he has a chance to show off and maybe have a chance to find out what he's best at truly at this level. So great pickup for the Browns here, number 26.
I love that pick as well because with the 26th pick, I'm taking JOK, Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah. Again, I agree with Micah Parsons being like that was. I love what you said there about that. I just feel like he's really good in coverage. His build is gonna like help that defense out in coverage a lot. I feel like at the
JOK
positions
for sure.
Yeah, I don't feel like he's gonna be the best pass rusher, but you got a guy like Myles Garrett and even Jadeveon Clowney. His pass rushing numbers will go up this year, people people having to worry about Myles Garrett. So I feel like having Cormo.
I should say like that's kind of what I mean by him being in that system, right? Is like he's going to have the opportunity behind a much better defensive line to be that style of a pass rushing linebacker and do it at a much higher level than a guy probably like Micah Parsons who's going to be going into a system that, with the Dolphins, which is where I have him going, not necessarily built in that same way. So he's going to kind of have to come off the edge a little bit more.
Yep.
Alrighty, with number 27, I got the Baltimore Ravens taking Elijah Moore. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you here. I like Elijah Moore, but I don't think that he is going to be the better receiver out of like between him and Terrace Marshall Jr., who I don't have going in the first round. I think that Elijah Moore is going to get taken in the first round, but that Ole Miss logo on the side of his helmet.
Oh man,
it gives me way too many Laquan Treadwell flashbacks, man. I do not like the wide receiver out of Mississippi in the first round. It's just a thing that I have. I'm not feeling it. But Baltimore needs a wide receiver, so I think that this is definitely a possibility. And obviously, I think that it's going to happen, or else I wouldn't have put it here. So. Not necessarily the best pick in my eyes, but very realistic.
Yeah. I like it a lot. With Baltimore 27 for me. I don't really like this spot because Marshall's already off my board, so I don't really want to give them Elijah Moore. So you know what? Who did they lose this offseason? Unique Ngakoue, right? You know what? At 27, I'm gonna give them Jason away. Penn State.
Ooh.
Yep.
Wow.
Penn State off the edge. Baltimore is obsessed with their edge rushers. They lost Matthew Judon. They lost Matthew Judon this past year. They also lost Unique Ngakoue. Honestly, it's a hole. So
you're right.
Oweh's gonna step in from Penn State. He's flexible. He's a good athlete. I know you're high on him.
Yeah, I like him a lot.
I feel like this is a good pickup for the Ravens here. Wow. I didn't really think about it that much.
You just got me thinking because I just keep thinking about, how every single Raven fan that I see constantly is basically whining about not having a wide receiver. And I feel like secretly, or not so much secretly, but like I feel like Lamar Jackson is kind of also like,
he is. Yeah.
So that's just why my mind goes to wide receiver every time I see this pick. But dang, if Jason Oweh is still there, totally. That's a good fit. That's a great fit. All right, at 28 here with the New Orleans Saints, I got Asante Samuel Jr. out of Florida State going to the Saints here. He's by far the best corner left on the board here. I think he could potentially, depending on how teams are feeling about Caleb Farley and his injuries, he could even go before him. I don't think that that's smart, but I think it's totally possible. Either way, for 28 overall, I think the Saints are getting a really good pick for a big hole on their defense, in my opinion. You just need guys. You need to figure out how to stop people from throwing the ball. And Asante Samuel Jr. will do that. He's aggressive, and that's those Florida State Seminoles. They tend to be pretty good corners in the NFL, if I'm recalling correctly. So
yeah. All right. Well, I'm thinking the exact same position here. With 28 at New Orleans, I have them taking a corner as well. I have them taking Greg Newsome second, though. He's still on my board. This would be a great fit. Trying Trevon Jenkins or whatever, the second corner, he's washed up. He's not very good. Vikings absolutely cooked him last year in that defense, even though they gave
Oh,
him
yeah.
50 points or whatever that was. But we're not going to think about that game. But I mean, they have Marshawn Lattimore as the number one, but this guy as a number two would be pretty solid. I feel like coming from the Big Ten, he's physical, he's got talent. I think that's a great pickup for the Saints, even though I do feel like this team will still fall off next year.
I think they will too. Totally. I totally think they're going to fall off just because of the quarterback situation. There's a lot of big heads in that locker room. But I really like that pick. And I think, honestly, Greg Newsome could vie for a number one spot, to be completely honest with you. Like, he'll push the corners in the room with him to work much harder because he will come in with a lot of talent. At number 29 with the Green Bay Packers, they should select a wide receiver, but I truly believe that they will not. So I have them again going with Nick Bolton. That is my lock for number 29. I think I've had them mocked to them the past like 3 or 4 mock drafts that we've done. So I like his stance. I like his measurables. He's a good solid linebacker. Pretty sure that they lost a pretty big name linebacker.
Christian Kirksey, I believe.
Thank you.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, it is a hole. It's something that needs to be filled. And I see Nick Bolton as an early second round pick, but I guess with the way the board is falling, the value isn't terrible here.
Yeah. With Green Bay at 29, I actually am being nice to Packer fans and the Green Bay faithful out there. I'm giving them a wide receiver. I wanted to give them a corner so bad, but I couldn't. I'm giving them Elijah Moore off the board. I mean, I don't. Again,
you're not being very nice then, in my opinion. But
I'm not like super high on this guy, but he's probably the best receiver on the board. I don't know.
Oh yeah, probably the best one left on your board. Yeah.
If he goes to Green Bay, I'm gonna pray that he turns into the new Laquan Treadwell. So that'd be kind of awesome. But I mean, I don't know if it's a bad pick. They need a wide receiver desperately. Aaron Rodgers probably won't let that happen. So whatever.
True. At number 30 here, I have the guy that you had going to. At number 27. Jason Oweh out of Penn State. I have the Buffalo Bills getting by far the best edge rusher on the board, in my opinion. He's going to go in there and he's going to eat, man. This is going to be a scary Bills defense if he starts lining up on the outside on that defensive line. I don't even want to look at that team. All they know basically is, well, the Kansas City Chiefs, they don't have an offensive line and they got a million times worse in the free agency. So let's go ahead and make our defensive line even better and get to the Super Bowl this year.
Yeah.
That's kind of the way I look at it. Not to mention the fact that it's just a position of need for them. But yeah, that's amazing value at number 30 overall, in my opinion. I'm very high on you.
Yeah, totally. All right, with the Buffalo Bills, I feel like at 30, I feel like they're in a good spot to take, honestly, maybe the best talent available. And I'm gonna go with Zaven Collins actually here. I feel like Zaven Collins. Here's the thing with him and Nick Bolton. I feel like I feel like a flip a coin, honestly. I feel like Nick Bolton will end up maybe being a better true linebacker.
Right.
But talent wise, I think Zaven Collins. I feel like Zaven Collins is better because I mean he's underrated. I feel like him playing at Tulsa, nobody got to look at this kid.
Well,
he's a good
and I
player.
don't think he played many games, if I remember correctly. I think he might be like a sophomore or something like that.
Yeah. And I just feel like Buffalo at this spot, they have the leverage to maybe go best player available with this team. And I feel like adding a guy, especially on their defense, is going to help a lot because their defense, I mean, it got shredded by Kansas City, but it was all right the rest of the season. Nobody's going to be worried about this Buffalo offense. They'll be back next year for sure. So I feel like defense. Yeah. So I feel like picking a defense in this first round would be a solid pickup. And I feel like Collins, he's got a lot of talent. Buffalo might turn him into something.
I dig it. At 31 with the Kansas City Chiefs, I have Azeez Ojulari, the edge rusher, going here. There are some offensive linemen on the board that could easily go here. You know, your Dylan Radins, Alex Leatherwood. But I think that Kansas City looks at what happened in the Super Bowl and they say, okay, the value doesn't make sense for us to fix our O-line here, but we can go out and get a really solid defensive lineman and make sure that we're the ones doing the bullying next year.
Yeah.
So I think this is a fantastic pickup for KC, to be completely honest with you. I like Aziz a lot, but I also think that the way that the edge rushers have gone so far, he's definitely like it's gone perfectly as how I would rank them.
Yep. All right. Well, with Kansas City, I wanted to give them a wide receiver, maybe like Rondale Moore or something, just to like, because I feel like it's kind of a sneaky pick. Maybe Andy Reid, or maybe kind of like want that another weapon with speed, there, which would be absolutely insane.
That'd be
but
big.
I'm gonna stick with the offensive line. I'm gonna take the best tackle off the board that I have on my board. So I'm gonna go Walker Little from North Carolina.
Okay.
This team needs a tackle, obviously. No Eric Fisher, no Mitchell Schwartz. So I feel like Mitchell Schwartz was actually really solid, but this team's going to need it. Offensive tackle, Walker Little is probably the best on my board right now. So, I mean, yeah, this offense is going to be fine. They're going to put up a ton of points again next year. The defense is kind of a question, but I mean, I think it'll be back again, but I feel like offensive line is the easy and the safe pick here for Kansas City.
Yeah, totally. All right, well, with the last pick in the first round for me, as far as my official guesses for how the first round is going to go next Thursday, I have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking Gregory Rousseau out of Miami, Florida, with the 32nd pick. I think that there's a million different ways, quite honestly, that Tampa Bay could go with this pick. They've obviously retained every single starter that they had last season. Now it's just a matter of, okay, let's build for the future and make sure that we have guys. So as far as the defensive line goes, I think that's one of their older average positions. So get a young guy in there, especially a guy like Gregory Rousseau, who is an absolute monster athlete, but a really big project. Get him in a building where there's a ton of veterans on that defense, and you can turn him into what, you know, the Pro Football Hall of Famer that he could possibly be, that he has the measurables to be.
Yep. Guys like Shaq Barrett and why am I freaking Ndamukong Suh are going to help mentor that guy if they made that pick. So I like it. He's a project, but Tampa could turn him into something. So
exactly. Great. You know, Tampa's the one team that is like, if you're going to take a project, Tampa actually makes sense to take a project.
Yep. Well, 32 with Tampa Bay. I still have a pretty good edge rusher, I feel like, on my board here. I'm going to give them an edge rusher, actually. I'm going to Azeez Ojulari from Georgia. He's still on my board. Again, Azeez is a good, like, rotational edge rusher. I feel like that's what I feel like his potential is for the NFL, which is not bad at all. There's a lot of good rotational defensive ends out there, especially with guys like Ndamukong Suh getting older. I feel like he's going to be the replacement for him maybe down the line, Azeez. And
about 80 to 90% of edge rushers that go into the NFL at the beginning of the career are rotational guys. Not many guys come in there to play all three downs.
Exactly. So I feel like but I'm just saying, like, right now, I feel like he's going to first year come in and be like a rotation on that defensive line, which is
right. Yeah, just
going to make that defensive line even better, because I feel like he's still a pretty solid player. He's just solid. You know what I mean?
Totally. Yep. All righty, man. Well, that's it. So there you have it. That's me and Tyler's official picks for the entire first round that will be taking place next Thursday night. That was exciting. That was a lot of fun. I'm really excited to see how these pan out, how right we are, how wrong we are. So, well, we will have obviously the weekend off as always. We'll be back on Tuesday. We'll be getting back to you with hopefully some draft news, depending on if there's any trades, any signings that happen that affect any of the potential draft picks, specifically obviously with Minnesota, and some quality breakdowns on a couple players that we really want to see Minnesota take at 14 or wherever it is that they end up. And then as far as Thursday goes, again, we will keep you up to date with what we're deciding as far as Thursday goes and what we decide to do. But hopefully having a little bit of a surprise in for all you listeners out there on Thursday, and we'll really find a way to have fun and enjoy the draft. So thank you guys so much for listening. Make sure you check out all our episodes at vikeswithmike.com. They're all archived there. Support us in any way, shape, or form that you can. Reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you guys. And we will see you all on Tuesday. Thank you so much for listening. And Skol.